Excelente, etc.
Thrill me.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Horror Flicks and Guitar Picks podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and today is our first monthly Roundtable episode back since we joined YouTube. I'm stoked to be joined by 3 out of 4 of my monthly Roundtable co-hosts, Travis, Wren, and Phil. Unfortunately, Jay couldn't join us, but how's it going, guys? I'm stoked to have you back on.
Stoked to be back, bro. It's really good to see you guys, man. I'm fucking miss this shit.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, the group chat is fun and all, but sometimes it's good to see your ugly mugs.
Right. Make each other feel better about ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolute truth, Wren. Absolute truth.
Hell yeah. But of course, it's been a while, so excuse me, I had some water in my throat. But it's been a while since we've done one of these, so we usually start with what we've been watching and anything else we've been up to. But since it's been so long, we don't have to recap the several months. But has there been anything that's really stuck out over the past few months for you guys, or whether it's something you attended event wise, or a movie that just really popped out?
I mean, Sinners is kind of dominating the space right now when it comes to movies. I feel like that's kind of set itself apart from everything else that's come out this year.
Yeah, now I need to see that still.
Yeah,
Same.
Companion's awesome, and it's finally on HBO.
Yeah,
But I feel like right now, like Sinners just fucking keeps dominating. I mean, it's like going neck and neck with Thunderbolts. So for an original horror movie to compete with a Minecraft movie and a Marvel movie is pretty impressive, and it's been out for like a month now. So
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Is it's already like it had a 2-week jump start and still was like beating them. I tried to see it like just last week, and almost every showing I wanted to go to had no good seats, and that's one of the reasons I ended up like I still haven't seen it.
yeah, the screenings. I mean, they're starting to dwindle in amount of screenings here, but every screening that happens at the theater, like a couple miles from my house, they're still packed from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just checked today because I was thinking about going to see Final Destination, and I saw that they're still running it. And I'm like, wow, that's had an impressive fucking go. And deservedly so. I mean, it's a great film. So
And they're bringing it back to the IMAX
Yeah.
for a couple
yeah,
weeks.
that's where I saw it on the IMAX. So
But
yeah.
it's gone because Final Destination gets the next run. But apparently, after like a 2-week run of Final Destination, then Sinners is back. Like they're bringing it back to the IMAX because of demand. So it's crazy how much that's dominating the horror space right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely stoked to finally check it out when I do. And no, that's I might see it Monday because I got tickets for the Scream Unseen at AMC just in case it is bring her back. Because right now there's really no other like horror films coming out that I can think that it would be. And a buddy of mine that says he knows an A24 rep said that that's probably more than likely what the mystery movie is, because Alamo Drafthouse is, and by the time this comes out, the movie Bring Her Back will already even be out. So or it'll be the same day that it drops, actually, is the day that this episode drops. So
I'm doing that too. So let's see what happens.
yeah, I'm really excited, and I hope it is Bring Her Back. But I was saying that I'm going to see that at 7, so my plan is to get off work a little early and hopefully catch like an early showing of Sinners before I even go into the Scream Unseen. So it just depends on how early I can get off work and if the show time lines up. But if I don't get to see Sinners, I'm definitely going to try to catch another one of the ones that are out, between Until Dawn, Final Destination. Even if it's one I'm not like super stoked to see, definitely might as well make it a double feature while I make the trip to the theater and everything. So
I did get to see a press screening of Final Destination on Monday.
Nice.
Shout out to Justin from the Farsighted Network. He hooked that up. Want to give him a little bit of props for helping me out with some of those press screenings recently. But Final Destination was fun. If you like those types of movies, I say it's dumb because they are dumb. But if you're just want to watch people fucking die, then there's your movie for you. And they don't cut away from any of them this time, so all the deaths are like right in front of your face.
fuck yeah.
That's pleasant. Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, yeah, I like all those movies except for 4, the one with the NASCAR race. That one's kind of shitty, but the rest of them I really enjoy. But what about you, Travis and Phil? Do you guys have anything?
Travis, I'll let you go first.
I've been going to a bunch of shows.
Hell yeah.
Like I just like Saturday we went and did Napalm Death and the Melvins, and then Monday I did Obituary, Tomorrow I'm doing the Smoking Popes, and then we're off to London. So
Fuck yeah.
it's been a busy week of shows. As far as movies and stuff, I just watched Hard Eyes the other day. I mean,
Mhm.
it was fine. You know, I think that's probably like the most recent thing. Uh, because I mean, we haven't done this for a few months, so I haven't really been keeping track of everything I'm watching, but I'm pretty current on everything. I haven't seen Sinners yet or Final Destination, but I probably won't see either of those until I get back.
Yeah. No, hell yeah. Well, congrats on well, have fun in your trip to London and
Yeah,
Yeah,
seriously, man. It's
definitely
gonna be
yeah,
have to
great.
thanks.
let us know how that goes next month's episode for sure.
Yeah,
You
Fuck yeah.
deserve some time away, so good for you guys.
Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
What about you, Phil? What's up on your end?
So I've been busy too. The coolest thing I want to share is that, and Ren took part of this, is that Knights of the Black is finally getting lifted off the ground. We shot our first video um, in Philadelphia. Had to do it in two parts. The first one went much better than the second part because the second part I got hurt in. Um, but yeah, we shot an awesome fucking horror like video for a song called Vigilante, which is kind of my nod to the Death Wish films of the 80s, 70s, and 80s. And it came out fucking awesome. There's a lot of great death in that. Wren dies a glorious death. I do as well. So everyone dies. It's pretty fucking great. And so it's in the editing phase now, and I'll get it in a few weeks. And then gonna do a campaign, get it on across the country and liquid metal and all that stuff. So it's gonna take a little bit more time, but it's happening, and we're just truly excited about that. So Jay and I, and then film wise, kind of been going a lot to the movies. I might skip one or two that I've seen, but Companion, great. Really enjoyed that. Hard Eyes was, for Halloween slasher, good enough. I did enjoy it. It's my wife enjoyed it too. So yeah, that was cool. The Monkey, I really enjoyed the Monkey. That motherfucker is an asshole and a half.
Oh yeah.
A lot of good death in that, and I'm not the biggest Stephen King guy anymore, especially nowadays. But like for a short story, that shit kicked fucking ass. That's definitely gonna be top three for me right now, as far as this year goes. So shout out to the Monkey, that was great. What else? I saw Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare in January. That sucked balls. That was a waste of my time, and so fuck that film. Hell of a Summer, comedy more than horror, cute teenage movie. I was expecting more. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Sinners, really great. It deserves all the attention it's getting. Can't wait to see it again. Until Dawn was solid. Some cool death in that, and I didn't know. I obviously PlayStation made it, but I didn't know beforehand that it was a game
Yeah.
until Jay broke that down to me. So I enjoyed it for what it was, and would definitely give it another watch for sure. Screamboat is number one for me right now because that shit was awesome, and I just love that team. They hit home runs, and David Howard Thornton was great in that, and a lot of good death in that. Really, really good. It was even more surprising that I was excited, but I was like, it might be so stupid. And it is, but it's also awesome at the same time. So I really enjoyed that. I already own it. So I gave it another watch the other day, and I'm all about Screamboat. And then the last thing I saw was Clown in the Cornfield, and unfortunately, that sucked.
Yeah.
It just did. Um, you know, Thought
I
it
heard
was
it was
gonna be something that it wasn't, and the story was kind of stupid, and the killing was like super lame.
I heard it was like a
So
really cool like intro to horror. Like it's definitely made for like a younger crowd to like bring them on board. That's what
yeah,
I
little
heard.
teeny boppers would maybe get be frightened by it or whatever, but for someone like me, and I'm sure you guys will all hate it. I did not like it at all. So I was really disappointed because in the trailers it looked really, like it was going to be something, but sad, sad fail on that. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell right now that I can think of in my brain that's not working so well. So yeah.
No, I feel that. I haven't really seen much myself. I've like, of course, stuff I have, like, there's nothing I haven't really already mentioned on the show. I guess I haven't really mentioned the monkey too much. I did enjoy that. But I saw that Wolfman when it came out. That sucked. Companion, I loved that, but I'm still behind. I'm really behind on like everything that's out right now. The only thing I've really been keeping up with recently, well, I watched Shakma for the first time, which was fun to chat with Travis about for the Patreon and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it was cool to knock Shakma off the list. And then I watched Frighteners for the first time, which we'll get into once we dive into this month's topic, which I don't know if I said yet since we jumped into the episode, but of course, if you click the episode, I'm sure you read the title, and we're talking about Peter Jackson's early years. But the only thing that I really saw, other than watching some stuff like that for the first time, was I caught up on The Last of Us. I have like one episode to catch up on still, but I've been watching season 2 of The Last of Us, and I've been enjoying it so far. So I'm excited to see where they go with it. But other than that, really nothing too interesting. Of course, I went to LDB, but I've already mentioned that on the show, and I think talked about it with
I
you
was
guys in the
feeling
group chat
flesh,
and
bro.
stuff. They were fucking sick. I wore the shirt today to represent, but
Hell yeah.
no,
Hell yeah.
they were fucking excellent. So,
Homies, shout out to them, man. I love those guys.
oh yeah, no, I definitely want to catch them again. I want to see them on a show where it's like a little smaller venue. You know what I mean? Because that place was fucking massive. That's my only complaint about the about LDB at all this year was the venue was so big that sometimes I feel like it made the sound not as great as it could have been, as well as like it made it harder to like for the crowd to be like wild, wild, you know. So, but oh yeah, but we can dive into Peter Jackson. Of course, this was Fletch the Walrus's pick. Wren, why did you choose Peter Jackson, and what was your like introduction to Peter Jackson?
Well, I chose Peter Jackson because I mean, the four main films we're going to talk about: Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Dead Alive or Brain Dead, wherever the hell you are in the world, and the Frighteners. All four of those movies are fucking bangers,
Yeah,
and everyone knows Peter Jackson for Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and now that Beatles movie, and like he's this like renowned fucking director, but he has this like fucking ick like phase of his career, which is awesome. And I don't want that. I don't ever want that to get overshadowed because to me, like something like Dead Alive is like a must see for everyone. Like I love the other three, but like Dead Alive specifically, like everyone and their fucking mother has to see that movie at
yeah,
least 3 times.
Holy Grail, bro. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why I wanted to talk about Peter Jackson's early stuff because like I mean this your audience definitely knows these movies. But there's such an audience out there. I tell people all the time, I'm like, oh, did you ever see this movie? And I'm like, yeah, it's done by Peter Jackson. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, so there's a lot of people that have no idea that he has like this crazy era that started well before his Lord of the Rings days. And the fact that if you like watch any of these movies, you're like, how the fuck did he get the Lord of the Rings? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like even his biggest budget movie is The Frighteners, and then he goes from The Frighteners to fucking making like, three of the most epic films that like have ever been made. So it's like kind of crazy. But
yeah,
yeah, that's why I chose Peter Jackson because these movies rule, and I don't want to ever hear his like, cool fucking gross phase like getting like overlooked by the Lord of the Rings. But as far as my intro, the first movie I ever saw was Brain Dead or Dead
oh yeah,
Alive. That was the first one, and this was like pre Lord of the Rings, so like there was no like, oh, it's the guy that did Lord of the Rings. Like I saw Dead Alive when I was probably like 12 or 13 because someone said, oh, you love that Evil Dead movie. This is basically it if it was made in, well, they said Australia, but they were like, if it was made in Australia. So naturally I was like, okay, well, I have to watch this. And I was like, fuck, it is like if fucking Evil Dead 2 was made in New Zealand.
yeah,
So that was my intro. And then I saw Bad Taste after that because the box then was like updated that said like, from the creator of Dead Alive. And, so I was like, all right, let me get into this. Meet the Feebles, like I fucking stumbled upon. Had no idea that it even was a Peter Jackson movie when I first watched that. And by the time the Frighteners came out, I already knew who Peter Jackson was. I was well aware of this director.
Oh yeah.
So I just went into it. I honestly went into the Frighteners thinking I was getting something like Dead Alive or Bad Taste, and was pleasantly surprised to get something much more Hollywood, more polished, but it was still like, a really fun movie. So that's my like nuts. All of this happened before he ever did Lord of the Rings. Like I was very aware of Peter Jackson before he did Lord of the Rings. So when he got Lord of the Rings, I remember being like, that
Yeah.
guy's gonna make Lord of the Rings. All right, let's see what happens.
Oh yeah. No, that's awesome for sure. I don't definitely gonna show my age when it's my turn to talk about my introduction to Peter Jackson. But what about you, Travis? What was your intro to Peter Jackson?
Uh, Almost the identical situation.
Hell yeah.
Because I would go buy movies. There was like a little boutique like movie spot near my house. So it was like that's where we got like, the Affliction DVD and all this like fucked up shit. And we would go in there and like buy like Ilsa She Wolf for the SS and all this like weirdo shit. And we were buying Evil Dead 2, and the guy was like, "Hey, if you like that, you would love this movie." And it was Dead Alive, Brain Dead. And then that just became like the thing. Like that set the bar for me and my friends as far as just like intensity. It was just like we would encounter people that were like, "Oh, yeah, I'm into Evil Dead." And it's like, "Yeah, but are you into this?" And then after that, like I don't like Lord of the Rings, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. So like I don't give a fuck about those movies. Had no idea he had anything to do with them. Like that arc of his career just like totally missed for me. So like it wasn't until I think like Laura and I started dating that she loves Lord of the Rings, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like Peter Jackson, like Bad Taste did these movies." And I was like, "Hold on. What the actual fuck?" Uh but like I think like Bad Taste is awesome. I didn't see that probably until Laura and I started dating because she had that movie. She had like the VHS of it. Um, but I love the Frighteners and some of the other stuff that he was doing. Even stuff that he did like District 9. I know we're not gonna really get into that, but like some of that stuff I thought was cool. But like the Frighteners, I mean, according to my background, I love that movie. I thought it was fantastic. Dead Alive was my shit growing up for a long time.
Yeah.
Meet the Feebles. I mean, I can't wait to get into that and talk about that shit because it's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Hell
but
yeah.
yeah, that was like my introduction and like what where I still follow his career.
Yeah.
It's like,
What did he have to do with District 9? Because wasn't that Neil Blomkamp or whatever?
yeah, but I think he was like a producer on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
After Lord of the Rings, he did King Kong, and then he
Yeah.
like dumbed it back down, and he did the Lovely Bones, which was actually like shot near like in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
As a matter of the mall is the McDade Mall, which is like I don't even think it exists. I think they knocked it down. I haven't been to that area in a minute. But yeah, he did a few like King Kong. He went right into King Kong, so he did like another massive like epic movie, and then he dialed it back down for the Lovely Bones.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out my wife Lauren. Lovely Bones is definitely her favorite Peter Jackson movie by a long shot. She loves that movie.
Fuck yeah.
But no, and I
It's
like them like it too.
but okay.
What'd you say?
It's good. It's good, but what of like his entire fucking catalog, like the Lovely Bones is like not in my top 10.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, she's not a horror fan or like a big fantasy. Well, I guess you could say she's a fantasy fan, but like not, it's more like she likes Harry Potter because of nostalgia, like she grew up with it and everything, but
Fair
like she doesn't get into like new fantasy shit, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I call her a fantasy fan, but what about you, Phil? What's your introduction to Peter Jackson?
Almost similar. Like I remember being a teen and of course, big fan of Evil Dead, big fan of Dawn of the Dead and all the zombie films. So going into my local rental VHS rental store and seeing the box and was like, well, this is something I haven't seen, so let me check this out. and then bringing that home, seeing it with a few friends, and being blown away. Like, what the motherfuck, bro? This is like all those films I just mentioned on steroids, man, because the death, the gore is all super exaggerated, and it was just instant love for me. And I must have seen it like, the rental was like for 2 days or something, and in that 2 days, I probably watched it 5 times. So it was like super love right away. And then I wanted to see what else he done. So the next day I went to when I returned the tape, I remember asking the dude behind the counter, I was like, yo, this guy, did he do anything else? He's like, yeah, Hooked Up Bad Taste. Went and took that home, and I was like, holy shit. And right away, it's his kind of film, like the way it's shot, the music, like everything about it is just like his style. And he definitely had his own imprint, style, whatever you want to call it. But I love those two so much. I didn't see Meet the Feebles right away. I stumbled upon that a few years later. But when I did, another fucking home run. Uh, that shit's so vile. It breaks every sin and law that there is on earth, and I fucking love that movie. And it's all fucking puppets too. So like, it's just ridiculous, man. And then Frighteners a few years later. I hated it. I did. I've hated that movie all these years, and then I watched it again, and I changed my mind about it. I saw it from a different lens, and not with the wanting the death and the gore and all that shit. And it's a decent ghost story for sure. Like, yeah, I'm glad I got a second watch. So I'm glad you made us watch these films again, because I wouldn't have given Frighteners another look ever, because I just didn't like it. I thought for Michael J, it just wasn't, not even in my top three of his films, or five even. So yeah, Frighteners is in my old age, um, a really cool ghost story with terrible effects. And then obviously Lord of the Rings. I love those movies very much. But I don't like District 9, and I don't like much of his other stuff, to be honest. I like the old school Peter Jackson. And I kind of wish for one day for his return to that kind of style, just to appease the fans that helped his rise. Give us one more of those, slapstick kind of fucking gory, crazy films. And I'm sure he'll never do that. But I would at least want Dead Alive to come out on fucking 4K or Blu-ray or something cool like that, because that's been hidden away for years, and it's kind of sucks that it's not accessible. Like, I have a copy of it, whatever, but like I want a real copy of it.
Yeah.
So they did that in Search of Darkness, not the 90s. So the first half of the 90s is out, and they spend a good time talking about that alive. I'm wondering if that like gives it a resurgence. I feel like there's a bunch of those movies that get talked about in that documentary from the 80s and now the 90s that people are gonna be like, oh fuck, yeah, that movie ruled. And I think one of these like fucking smaller like companies are gonna do a run of it. Like it has to. Like I feel like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
people are getting reminded about that are like, oh shit, I haven't seen that movie in forever. And there's like an interest now because I feel like if anyone just made an announcement like, "Oh, we're doing a 4K run of fucking Dead Alive," like they would sell like a couple thousand copies. Like no
Fuck yeah,
questions.
bro. Hell yeah.
Well, Peter
That's a
Jackson.
cult classic, man.
And Peter Jackson over the years himself, like the past 5 or so years, has been saying that that was his next project after all that Beatles shit was to restore his early work. But it's like one of those things that he keeps saying it, and it's just like we don't get any new info.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody else, like I would hope somebody would have already heard that and gone to him as a company and been like, look, if you're willing to do it, we'll restore it. And you just come in and like give your like like Vinegar Syndrome does it and says like, hey, you
Yeah,
get
vinegar for sure. Yeah.
yeah, like full pool or whatever. But so hopefully now that all that Beatles shit is out and like over with, it, hopefully does happen in the next few years. I mean, we finally got Freaked announced, by Draft House Films and stuff, and I didn't think that would ever happen just because Disney owned it. So maybe if there's somebody holding on to the rights that's just like holding up Peter Jackson, maybe that shit will get a little looser, as it
I
goes
just
forward.
think it's criminal that it's like in jail like that, like in purgatory. I mean, you know, and it should definitely. I think a new generation of fans needs to discover that film, and if so, I think it would explode all over again in popularity.
That would be wild to see back in the theaters.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
Or
yeah.
like
And
or at the
Yeah,
drive-in. Dude,
that'd be unreal.
I would go fucking nuts to see that at the Mahoning.
word.
Yeah.
oh fuck yeah. But now, pretty much my introduction to Peter Jackson was growing up. I definitely saw the Dead Alive VHS tape in the horror section, but it was like when I was so young and scared of horror that the like cover stood out to me. Like the mouth being pulled open and stuff.
Mhm.
And so, but I never actually rented it or watched it or anything. But it definitely like was one that stuck with me. But when I got a little bit older and Lord of the Rings came out, it was about when did it come out? 2001, the first one. So like when it hit DVD in like 2002, I was watching it at the house, and that was probably the first thing I watched. And of course, when Bilbo reaches for the ring and he like says, "Give it to me" or whatever, and like freaks out on Frodo for a second, and his like face turns, I immediately was like, "Nope, I'm out," because like I didn't even like horror at the time, so that shit scared the fucking dog shit out of me. So I like peeped out of that, and my dad's roommate at the time, because he was like in between wives. Uh, he was like a big cinephile, and he was a guy that like he's how I watched Clerks and Mallrats and stuff like that, and learned about Quentin Tarantino. And so he came home like shortly after Lord of the Rings and was like, "Hey, the guy that made that movie made this fucking funny ass puppet movie and had Meet the Feebles." And he like started watching it, and I saw like the first like 30 minutes before my dad was like, maybe like no." Like and so like I got to see like a good bit of Meet the Feebles, and so ever since like that, I was like, dude, this dude made some like wild shit, before Lord of the Rings. And so I ended up like as I got older, I like sought all that out, and um I watched them all. Like I watched Bad Taste. Of course, like Ren mentioned, we're gonna do like the big four. Of course, Heavenly Creatures and a TV movie he did kind of came out in between these four. Mostly just between Dead Alive and The Frighteners. But the main four we're gonna talk about is Bad Taste, Dead Alive, The Frighteners, and Meet the Feebles. And of course, I saw them all out except for The Frighteners because it was a little later, and it doesn't get lumped in with like the gore fest that is Dead Alive and Bad Taste. So. I saw Bad Taste and Dead Alive over the past like decade or so, and just really enjoyed them. The first time I actually watched Bad Taste was on like a Facebook horror group that it was like I think it was like a Last Drive-In fan group, and they were doing live Facebook watch-alongs back when you could still do watch-alongs on Facebook, and they were doing Bad Taste and They Live one night because it was like alien movies that are like different, a little different than the typical alien. And so I watched Bad Taste for the first time that night, and I had a blast watching it with them, making jokes about, the character of Derek, and Derek's don't run and all that shit. So nah, that fucking and that really set me like on a love for those movies. So I've like rewatched those a ton. But now growing up, I always knew him as the Lord of the Rings guy, and then I did not like Kong. I tried to watch Kong too, and just I could
Yeah, I
never
didn't
get
like
through
Kong
it.
at
So,
all.
but and then I always forget he did Lovely Bones because it's so different. I like Lovely Bones. It wouldn't be one of my favorites either after like seeing his like early work, but it's definitely a fun one. But do you guys want to talk about each of the four films like one by one, or do you want to just talk about them in general, like favorite scenes, this and that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Well, yeah, we can dive into Peter Jackson's movies. Pretty much, I guess we could start with Bad Taste, the first one, which dropped back in 1987. I think the only thing that predated that was a short called The Valley. Have any of y'all checked that out at all, the short? Or
Never saw it.
No.
Nope.
Bad
yeah,
Taste is my jump off. Well, Dead Alive is my jump off, but as far as the earliest thing that I've ever seen is Bad Taste.
yeah, same. Yeah, I never even heard of The Valley until I like looked it up for this, But well, yeah, we can just keep go. You guys cool? Just keep going in the same order, or do y'all want to switch it up and stuff as we go?
No, we can go same order.
Yeah, we'll just do that for the we'll just do that going forward. Whoever picks goes first, and then we'll just keep just rotating around that way.
That's fair.
So if you want to kick things off, Ren, what was your thoughts on like what's your overall thoughts on Bad Taste? Like where does it rank for you as far as these four films? And then of course, if you want to shout out some of your favorite scenes and moments of it.
Um, Bad Taste. So because I feel like I would like Bad Taste a lot more if I had seen it first.
Yeah.
Because my problem was is I saw Dead Alive before this, and they're the two that are the closest in terms of like overall vibes, like in the zaniness, like the over the top gore. It's like some of the over and under acting, like the blend of black comedy, all that stuff. That's those two are similar, and Dead Alive does everything that Bad Taste does better.
Yeah.
So when I saw Bad Taste the first time, I was kind of like, it was sold to me as like, oh, it's these people that these aliens have this restaurant and they serve like human meat. And I was like, well, that's a fucking cool concept. And so that's the way it was sold to me. So, but when I watched it, it's like, I like it. The aliens are fucking weird as shit looking. The fact that Peter Jackson himself is like in the movie is kind of funny.
It's like three different characters too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And he's like at no point does he act good at all. Like I'm pretty sure that like I can get my fucking niece that like who's 11 to act better than him. Um, but yeah, Bad Taste to me is a to me, in my opinion, if I was going to tell someone to watch the early Peter Jackson stuff, I'm going to tell people to watch Dead Alive first, and then say, oh, and if you want to see like where he started, watch this movie because this is, and you can see all the ideas that he was getting, like they were churning in his head for when he made a movie like Dead Alive and was able to do what I feel like he wanted to do. Because how much was Bad Taste made on? Like $15? Like there's like it wasn't made. It was made on $25,000, and I think the budget for Dead Alive was like 1 million. So there's like a drastic difference in how you know, once Peter Jackson was given a little bit of money. I mean, the fact that he made that movie on like $1 million is fucking crazy because there's like goop everywhere in Dead Alive, but like Bad Taste is a very good movie to go back and watch to see where he started, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to I don't think there's a lot of people that should start with Bad Taste and work their way up because I feel like Bad Taste might it's just low budget. It's so low budget that it might turn a lot of like newcomers. Genre people will fucking love it. But like
yeah.
if you're trying to get people into this shit, I feel
Yeah.
like Bad Taste might be actually a bad movie to start with.
Yeah. And some of the humor is even more childish, you know what I mean? Which I'll get
Yeah.
into a little bit more once I go, but sorry, Freddie, I go.
Yeah,
But
it's super juvenile compared to, well, maybe not. Meet the Feebles is like the ultimate
oh
It's
yeah.
all fucking dick and fart and drug jokes. But like but yeah, the Bad Taste his writing wasn't there. Like he definitely got more refined with his writing by the time he got to Dead Alive. So like Bad Taste to me is like there's this movie and then Dead Alive is Bad Taste on drugs. Like it's on steroids. So like that's my opinion on Bad Taste. Like it's probably the one of the big four that I watch the least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what about you, Travis? What's your thoughts on Bad Taste? Is it your favorite? And do you have any like scenes or anything you want to call out or shout out?
It's not my favorite, but I do love it. To kind of be like contrarian, I think people should watch it first. I wish I would have seen it first because it is kind of a clusterfuck of like a film that like even sometimes like I think I dog it and I don't go back and watch it enough because I've seen what comes later. And it's like I had to find an appreciation for it after he had already outgrown the thing he did. You know, like he had already like honed it, sharpened his skills, made a thing that's better. So then you kind of have to go backwards a little bit to like enjoy Bad Taste at all. But I think it's great. And I love the way that the aliens look. That was always super appealing to me. And like I love his use of like the effects and stuff in it and like just fucking I will say though, I don't know if it's just New Zealand or if it's the way that it's shot, but the whole movie feels like it's just shot on a golf course to me. Like the whole time I'm watching it, it feels like it's taking place on like the set of Happy Gilmore. Um, so like that's always like really wacky to me, but then it's like there's like a lot of shit that happens in that movie that's just like really great. Um, but it's not my favorite, and it's not one that I watch often. I probably haven't watched it in 10 years, if I'm being honest. So,
No, and of course, like you said, it's kind of I kind of get what you're saying with showing it first because it's almost like when you go to a show, you know, like the headliner is supposed to be the headliner for a reason. So it's like if you see Bad Taste and enjoy that, then at least you're up in the ante when you watch Dead Alive, to where it's kind of the opposite, where if you watch Dead Alive, it's like, oh, well, you also enjoy Bad Taste. If you watch Bad Taste, you're like taking a step down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, but
Well,
no,
I liken it to like you look at something like The Evil Dead. So like I would not tell someone to start with Within the Woods or even like what's that other fucking movie he made before Evil Dead? I wouldn't say like, oh, you like Evil Dead, but I think if you're like, oh, you like The Evil Dead, here, go watch this movie that he did before and see where he started and got all the
Sure.
ideas and like how he like built up to be the Evil Dead. That's
yeah,
where that's like why I would say Bad Taste before or after you watch, because I think once you see what he can do, you can appreciate where he came from if you watch that second.
yeah.
That's
Sure.
my opinion.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree both ways for sure, and I can see both like ways. I think the only difference I would say with like Within the Woods and uh Bad Taste, at least in my opinion, is Bad Taste is stronger and a little closer to the quality
Okay.
of Dead Alive, to where Within the Woods is like a little further off than, or at least from what I've seen, because we talked about it the other day. I haven't fully seen Within the Woods yet myself. I've only seen like parts from like people talking about it and putting clips in their videos and stuff where, uh, like quality just isn't quite there as like the films of Evil Dead and shit like that. So like
Yeah.
it'd be different if like it was Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1. You know, like you don't have to see Evil Dead 1, but you should. Like, you know what I
Which you
mean?
fucking do.
You know what I mean? Like in order to watch Evil Dead 2, I meant like you don't have to watch it, but no, but hell yeah. What about you, Phil? What's your thoughts on Bad Taste?
I mean, I wouldn't show it first to a newbie because when you want to impress someone, you go for the jugular, right? And that's fucking Dead Alive.
True, I can see
Like,
that
look at
argument.
this shit right here, bro. And then, like, once a person is hooked, you're like, check out these, right? Which are awesome. Also, but you needed to see this first, so that I can hook you. Um, and then people, I think, would be more willing to go back. Um, kind of like I did. I saw that first, and then I went back and saw Bad Taste. Now, big-headed aliens go into a fucking town, take over, eat motherfuckers for burgers. And are disguised as humans, walking around as zombies, right? The whole time, chasing around these awful G-men that come in and try to, rectify the situation, get information, and hopefully like catch a few for science or whatever the fuck, and thoroughly fuck it up. Um, I mean, I was all about it, dude. The fucking violence, the music, the town. That shit is so low budget. I don't know how they rented this town to be able to film this shit, or how people agreed to, give them the space to do it. But I'm glad they did because this is such a solid entry into the Peter Jackson story, right? Like, and his success and all that. Humble beginnings, absolutely. But for a first film, this shit kicks ass.
Yeah.
My only thing about this film is that you don't see the big-headed alien until like almost the last 15-20 minutes. And I wanted more of that. There should have been more of that. Lord Crumb and all that stuff. Like it should have been more of that big-headed stuff. Because that's fucking cool. And I love it. It looks crazy, but it works. It works. And like maybe this is the kind of fucking alien that would only go to New Zealand and
Yeah.
wreak havoc, right? But it's such an enjoyable film. I really truly love it. The fact that he's in it is just a even bigger plus. And I hadn't like Travis, I hadn't watched it in many years. So I am really glad to have gone back and given it a run again. And I'm gonna watch it more often, like at least once a year or something going forward, because it is such an enjoyable film.
Oh, yeah. No, so I'm actually in the minority here. I love
Oh
Dead
boy.
Alive, but I think Bad Taste is my favorite. Uh,
Oh,
as much as I like Dead Alive, and I think it is the better one, and it is probably the one you should show people. Like if I was, so my thing is, I don't know if I'd say like show them first, but as far as like which one I'd recommend first, I guess you know what I mean. Like if we are gonna have a double feature, I'm gonna we're gonna watch Bad Taste first and then Dead Alive.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
But if I was literally just talking to somebody about movies, I'd probably tell them to start with Dead Alive. You know what I mean? Like, so it's I guess it depends on the scenario. Like if they were like talking about Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, I would be like, have you seen his early movies? I'd be like, you should check out Dead Alive if you're gonna check out any of them. And then of course, Bad Taste stuff. So I guess it depends on the scenario for me which way I go with those. But no, for me, Dead Alive is better and has a bigger spectacle, but I think just certain parts about Bad Taste I enjoy more. Like I enjoy the like childish humor. Of course, childish humor goes on through all these films, like Wren said, especially Meet the Feebles. But in this film, there's just so many like very small, stupid things that happen, especially like early on where uh well, I also love the fact that like immediately you're thrust into like this world with mythology that you don't really care about because it's so off the wall of like the boys being sent in as like this government like part of the government that comes in and takes care of aliens and they're all fucking nitwits and but right then when the guy's like the first alien he's like chasing the aliens and he hides in one of the like barns or whatever and the alien comes by he like goes to attack it with a pitchfork and right as he goes to do it, like his collar gets stuck on a piece of wood and he gets like pulled back. It's like just little stupid shit like that is hilarious to me. And then like the character of Derek, like when he of course like the Derek's don't run type thing is one of my favorites. But there's a part of the movie where he runs out of bullets and instead of like running away or doing anything, he just starts using his mouth. He's like "No, no, 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 no," no," and like trying to like trick the alien and just shit like that just gets me so fucking weak. And then but then of course you just got wild stuff like off the wall like he randomly wakes up after falling down the mountain and like staples his head back and just puts a belt around it and rolls on. And
I
then,
love that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite shit in that movie. That his half his brain is out and he's stapling it the whole time to keep it back in.
and that shit, then it showed that he was willing to go gross out, which of course grew even grosser in Dead Alive. But like when they were slurping the green like shit, and then the one like human guy finally drinks the green slurp, and he's like, "Oh, this is actually fucking good," and like can't stop eating it and stuff. But no, and then but I'm with you, Phil. Like I do wish we got more Alien early on, but I am glad that once we
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
aliens, it was like a full on showdown. It became almost like an action film. Like they
Oh
were just
yeah.
fucking guns blaring the whole time for the last 20 minutes of the movie. So. And then the house being a ship is just a completely awesome, cool concept with like the ending of the film and stuff. So there's just so much to like about it. And I respect the fact that he played three different characters in this. And you could like you'd have to tell me that. Like I wouldn't just be able
Yeah,
to
you wouldn't
yeah.
know otherwise. That's true.
Yeah, he plays Derek, of course, which is
Yep.
probably the most different looking of the three, because like the other two look a little bit similar to like how he looks nowadays. But like it took me a while. Like like somebody in the chat. Remember, like I said, the first time I saw this was on a Facebook Live. Somebody had to mention that that was Peter Jackson for me to be like, oh fuck, it is. Like, because I've never seen him without a beard, and that's the character that's like the only character he plays in the movie without a beard. I think he plays Derek, the alien chef, and then he plays like one other
Yep.
alien the alien that Derek actually faces, which shows how like smart and brilliant he is at filmmaking. The fact that he literally faces off with himself as an alien in the movie, and it's like you can't even really tell unless you're told. Anything.
I love the
Yep.
action in that last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's balls out and violent as fuck.
Yeah, that's the money. Is like
Yeah.
a lot of craziness happens to get there, but like the money of that whole movie is the climax, is the last 20 minutes.
100%.
No, fuck you. Now I feel like the first half of the movie is just like where all the like funny to like it's nonstop funny, but like the second half is where they like blew their budget for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I spent the $20.
Yeah. No, fuck yeah. But and then of course moving on, that was 1987 when Bad Taste dropped, and then 2 years later he did the cocaine fueled puppet film with Meet the Feebles. What was your thoughts on this, Ren? And do you have any scenes or anything that really stick out to you with this one?
Like I don't understand. I don't know how you talk about Meet the Feebles like in some sort of like chronological order because this movie is
It's all
fucking
over the place.
it's nuts from the jump. And the
Yeah.
fact that it's puppets and they're how fucking vulgar it is, like makes it more vulgar because it's puppets. Like
Yeah.
it looks like a Jim Henson like Muppets Take Manhattan or whatever, but like on PCP. Like this like you have like the fact that like what is it, the fucking chicken is like, oh, I want you to take a paternity test to the elephant because you get this
Mm.
fucking weird hybrid fucking chicken elephant. Like the fox sings like a fucking song about ass fucking like during the like there's like they there's drug use, like the Muppets are doing fucking drugs, like this movie's crazy. And when someone told me, like, I got a bunch of the plot like explained to me, they're like, oh, this is because I was like, I'm not watching a fucking Muppet movie. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, dude, you have to watch it. And they dropped some of the scenes. I was like, all right, I'm in. And then when I watched it, like I didn't think it was real. Like I thought I was watching, like I was like having a fever dream the
Yeah.
first time I watched it, because I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Because I was probably like 14. And I was just like, this is the fucking craziest thing that I've ever seen in my life. And it's a movie that I tell people about, and like sometimes I have to like remind myself like this does exist. Like I'm not having like a Mandela effect where like I think I saw something like this, because there's so many people I tell about this movie and they're like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like they know about Bad Taste and they know about Dead Alive. Like they've seen they've at least seen the cover art for that. But because Meet the Feebles is like impossible to find. Well, it's on YouTube, but it's like impossible to find in the wild.
Yeah.
People are like, I have no idea what that movie is. Like, I've never heard of it. And anytime I get people to watch the YouTube of it, when they come back to me, they're like, dude, what the fuck did you make me watch? Like, that's pretty much like the first question I get. Um, this is definitely his craziest movie, like by
Yeah.
far. Like, there's like Dead Alive rules and all that stuff, and that's my favorite of like the four. But like, this is above and beyond like the craziest thing he's ever done. Um, because none of it makes sense at all. It's Muppets, it's vulgar. Um, like yeah, it's fucking crazy. And like there's only two human actors in that movie. Like it's literally all puppeteering, which is awesome that they did that for his second movie. That the fact that he worked with all puppeteers, I think only Heidi is is a person in a suit,
Yeah.
and then he does a cameo in the audience where he's wearing the Bad Taste alien. Like
Yes. Yes.
he's under that costume. So I think they're the only two like actual human actors in costumes. So the fact that like he went from Bad Taste and 2 years later jumped into a movie making it all with puppeteers is nuts. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they were like coming up with when they were pitching the idea, and like when he was like writing this. Like I would love to know, he's like, and yeah, and then we'll do this and we'll have this fucking fox sing this song about ass fucking, and there'll be drug use and there'll be like suicide, like the fucking like the army vet. What the fuck was it? What he like he accidentally kills himself like doing like a knife throwing thing. Like this movie's fucking crazy. Like I could literally just I could just run down the whole movie and be like, these are all my favorite scenes, because it's bonkers from like start to finish. Like Meet
Yeah.
the Feebles, for anyone that is listening to this and has yet to see Meet the Feebles, like listen to this rest of this episode in a minute. Go on YouTube and fucking watch Meet the Feebles right now. It's like 80 minutes of your life that you will be like, holy shit, my life has been changed forever now that I've seen this thing.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely agree. It's one of those that's like almost a compilation of scenes more than a movie. I mean, of course, there's a storyline and stuff, but
Kind
like
of.
yeah, around the like main story, there's like more of a compilation of scenes of just puppets doing the most wild shit you can think of, or at least
Yeah.
for especially for puppets doing stuff. So, and it creates like a very good story. Like if it was told through humans, it wouldn't be bad either. But of course, being a second film, it was I'm sure that would have been a harder well, that's what's crazy is like the fact that he did it's kind of wild to think like was puppets easier because at least he could man it with less people, or would humans be hard like easier because like it's just casting people,
Well,
but
you have to remember some of those puppets are like three or four people doing the puppet. So it's not
true.
like
Yeah, they're big puppets. Yeah.
so the crew is definitely he's definitely has to have a bigger crew, because it might take like three or four people to do especially, well, there's a person in Heidi, but like Bletch and whatnot, there's probably like two or three people handling that. Then you have to
Yeah.
also have to pay the voice actors. But I know that it's only like six or seven guys that did like, or six or seven people that did all the voice,
Yeah.
because they do like 10 characters each. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's your typical backstage movie. There's plenty of movies that are like that, like these backstage, like musical movie type stuff. But I think if he did it with humans instead of puppets, he couldn't get away with a lot. It'd be hard to shoot a lot of the stuff that he did. Like because
True.
it's puppets, you're able to do. It's kind of like, what was that fucking movie that came out with Melissa McCartney a few years ago? Where it's
Oh,
like
that Muppet film that she
yeah,
made.
it's again like there's a lot that she could do. Like that dude, like the one puppet, like comes all over the fucking like.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a person because
Yeah,
that becomes
right.
graphic. But when you have a Muppet doing it, it can fucking fill a room up with cum. So like it I think if he had did it with human, I'm glad he did it with fucking
Yeah.
random animal puppets because it makes it crazier. If he did it with humans, he probably would have had to subdue it a little bit because of, laws probably. It's probably
Yeah.
illegal to shoot it with
Yeah.
people.
No, it's definitely funner with puppets for sure, but
Yeah.
not yeah, and I didn't even think about that. Like one of my favorite scenes, just to go ahead and shout it out now, is the golfing scene, early on where they're all like kind of like the bigger puppets are all hanging out and stuff. And
Yeah.
just because they're like the shit they're talking and stuff, but it's because all those puppets are like my favorite designs. And I didn't even think about that. Like you said, it takes like a few of the people to man those ones because they're so freaking big. They're all like 6 foot almost, or at least they portray it in that way. So
Yeah.
but hell yeah, what about you, Travis? What's your thoughts on Meet the Feebles?
It might be my favorite
Fuck yeah.
out of all of them because it is pure fucking chaos, dude. Like, well, also the songs are great. I
Yeah.
mean,
Songs are
like,
good.
I think we should talk about that as like a movie and music podcast. The soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah.
I would listen to the soundtrack just like at work if I could. Um, so it's great, but like the whole thing is fucked up. Again, it's like the last 20 minutes. I mean, it's full throttle from the moment the movie starts till the end. The last 20 minutes go completely
Man.
fucking over the top. And it's just crazy. Um, I mean, they film like literal pornography in it.
Yeah.
It's just like so it's like, yeah, they couldn't have made this with people, I don't think. It's like pretty insane. And yeah, it's wild. I would say though, I think my two favorite characters are Cedric the Warthog and Sid the Elephant. Sid only because like when they're singing the Meet the Feebles song, he's just like cracking that whip. He's just like in the corner cracking the whip, and it's just so fucking funny to me. I was just like, yo, check out the whip brother, dude. Like that's cool. But the scene where they're on the docks like fucking getting the drugs and everything's goes awry and Cedric is just like booking ass for like 20 frames, dude. It's just that big ass fucking puppet just hauling ass down the docks.
Yeah.
I was just like howling, man. It's so good. So I think this might take it just because it's really wild and you can't make another thing like it, dude. It can't be outdone.
Yeah.
Like like in the world of Muppets, it's like you can't go harder than that goes. It's like there's AIDS, there's well, sort of. There's like drugs, there's fucking, there's murder. It's awesome. It's
There's
great.
like there's failed suicide attempts. Like you can't really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild.
No, fuck yeah. What about you, Phil? What's your thoughts on Meet the Feebles?
Dude, you got, like these guys said, drug addiction, extortion, robbery, fucking drug dealing, porn, threesomes, bunny AIDS, fucking shady drug deals gone awry. And then you have this massive killing spree at the end where fucking Heidi just fucking loses her goddamn marbles and destroys everyone. So everyone fucking dies basically, except for a few survivors, right? But yeah, man, like how could you not love this film? It's done in Muppet form. You got all, and even the design on the Muppets are fucking insane. Like, I total props to these guys for creating these awesome Muppets. So many shady characters in this. The bug that eats the shit and is a shady, like he's like blackmailing this dude, like the bunny and shit. Like, I love that when they kill him and they say something about, oh, this is a left winged whatever. And it just like it's so fucking hilarious, bro. Like the one liners in this, all the fucking, like I said before, like every cardinal sin is in this fucking film. Um,
Twice.
and I think they do a great job of fucking killing, The porn scene was great. The threesome was even better as far as because it just came out of nowhere. Like these three bunnies just fucking the shit out of each other, right? Bunny titties and shit. Like it's fucking ridiculous. It just doesn't end. It's like you guys said, full throttle from the beginning. Again, the last 20 minutes are just cash, pure cash. Everything we want in horror films, or in deaths and all that happens in that last 20 minutes. But the bug really, I don't know, just something about the bug and the rat that they're just
Trevor.
such shady pieces of shit. And I just love it, man. I can watch that forever, and I hadn't in a long time. And so when this topic came up, I knew that I was going to see that first, and I did see that first. I gave that the run first, and I saw it twice actually, because I love that shit so much. It's just the greatest Muppet film that will ever be made. Nothing will ever touch it. Nothing will ever come near it, and it's a shame. Not a shame. I love that it's that quintessential one that we'll get to enjoy for the rest of our lives. And I'm glad that Jay finally saw that movie, and he was over the moon about it. Like I remember the text message. He's like, "What the fuck, bro?"
Oh yeah.
um, and so to get that text from him was a delight. I'm like, "Oh yeah, welcome to the fucking party, bro." That shit is fucking sick. And Peter Jackson doesn't get enough credit for that one. I mean, the cult fans will always give the nods to fucking Bad Taste and Dead Alive, but Meet the Feebles doesn't get talked enough about. And so, I'm glad we're here just giving it the nod that it deserves because the fucking characters are insane, bro. Like you have the sheep, Sebastian, like, the worm. The worm isn't talked about enough. Like that motherfucker was hilarious. And the slutty cat having the affair with the fucking walrus. Um, yeah, all of it is great. And I'm glad I got to watch it again because it's just fucking iconic in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Now I pretty much don't have much to add other, that you guys didn't already say. It's super fun. It's wild the shit that they got away with. It's one of the ones that I think when he finally sends out, this is Peter Jackson's early years box set. This is the one that'll shock people the most, I feel like, because while Dead Alive gets gorier than most films in general, and even has some crazy stuff we'll get to with pus in a second. But Bad Taste does some wild shit that you don't see in most Alien films. It's one of those things where this just has everything you could think of thrown in, and then like everybody else just mentioned the fact that it's puppets just make it fucking extra like gross out and fun, and like everything's just extra like over the top. So no, I enjoy this film a lot myself. I feel like all the character, like that's one thing I also enjoy is the puppet design and how you almost feel like the little porcupine type dude. I don't know exactly even what he is, but
Yeah, yeah.
like he might be like the one like normal guy, and then he ends up being a fucking weirdo too and stuff. So no, all the
He
shit that
kind of reminds me of Peter Jackson with the glasses and shit.
yeah.
You know,
But no, that
but it's criminal that like your average like the average horror fan won't doesn't even know about this film.
yeah.
That only like hardcore dudes like us that really are about it know about it.
No, when it comes to like films and stuff, like if somebody said they just like horror, I'd recommend them Dead Alive or maybe Bad
Yeah,
Taste. But if they let me know they actually like some fucked up shit, then I would be
yeah.
like, you need to check out Meet the Feebles. So that's where this one comes in for me as far as like I know all of them have like fucked up stuff, but this one really comes in as like the one that you want to show somebody that likes just like off the wall shit and
It
uh
breaks all the rules.
yeah.
I love it.
It
Okay.
also could not be made today.
No,
Like, it's definitely a movie that they would
no.
no studio would fucking touch this movie if it was tried to be made today.
Yeah. No, fuck yeah. And of course, now we can get to the cream of the crop. Of course, according to everybody else, what's the 1992 Dead Alive or Brain Dead? Of course, like uh Ren mentioned early on, depending on where you're at in the world. I think if it's the
Everywhere
UK,
but
is
the
Brain
US.
Dead, right? Yeah. Oh
Everywhere
yeah,
but
everywhere.
the US is the only place it's called Dead Alive because of that other movie with Bill Pullman where the guy's got the face stretched out on the cover. That was
Yeah.
called Brain Dead. and that apparently had the rights in the US, so they couldn't call it Brain Dead, so they called it Dead Alive here. But everywhere else in the world, it's called Brain Dead.
Oh yeah. Well, assuming Brain Dead / Dead Alive is your favorite, if it's not, where does this one rank for you, and what's your thoughts on this one?
Dead Alive is the top of the heap in terms of the early stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Like like I said, it's Evil Dead 2 if it was made in New Zealand, but fucking goopier. Because nothing the chainsaw scene, or I'm sorry, the lawnmower scene rivals, any of the fucking blood fountain scenes in, Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this movie's also wild. It's like, and Peter Jackson's good at coming up with his own lores, like this, fucking monkey rat, and how it's like if you get bitten, you gotta like chop the limbs off and shit like that. And they have like a whole like name for it. And, so, he came up with this like thing, like, and it's based on like true stuff. Like there is some like monkey that he like based it off of. And then he just decided like, oh, it got raped by a bunch of disease spreading rats. But some of the fucking grossest shit isn't even in the like, again, this is another movie where you get to the climax and the climax is like, oh, let's just have 70,000 gallons of like soupy looking blood.
Yeah.
The grossest shit happens like earlier. Like to me, the scene that fucking like makes me want to like puke every time I see it is when the I think it's the mother, the dead when the mother's dead, she like squirts the pus into like the pudding.
The pudding, yeah.
And that dude like eats the. I'm like,
That's vile, bro.
yeah.
The custard. Yeah.
Yeah, the custard, that's what it is. And he's all like, and like the way, because it has to be on like, they had to go into a studio and like re-record some of this stuff. But the way he's all like, this is good. I'm just like, I'm going to fucking, every time I watch, I'm like, I'm going to fucking puke. I was just listening to your body horror episode today, Tim. And I'm like, my brain just kept going to that scene. I'm like, you want to talk about fucking gross body,
Yeah.
like that scene, that's the scene. I mean, then you have like, other scenes where it's like when they're fucking and she like bite the nurse and she like bites his fucking face off like as they're fucking. And like he made like all of his like gore in this is so like it just looks it's just disgusting. It doesn't look real. It obviously looks like comical almost because of budget, the fact that it's like all practical, but it's so like everything about it is like slimy and like it's just like everything about it is like goop. Like it's not even blood, it's goop. It's goop and pus and everything is thick. Like every fucking bodily fluid is like there's no like bodily fluid that's like watery looking. Everything's just got like a fucking like viscosity to it. But yeah, obviously like, there's classic scenes like the your mother ate my dog makes me fucking laugh like every time and she pulls the whole fucking like it's just like there's no bone, it's just the skin, it's just like the fur like comes out of her mouth. Um the the fucking piece of shit uncle makes me laugh like every time that he shows up on screen, especially when he starts hacking everyone to fucking pieces with his fucking meat cleavers.
Yeah.
Um, obviously I kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah,
The,
that's what I was gonna say.
the whole fucking graveyard scene is worth it. The fact that that what's his name Void, he like pisses on the mother's grave and she just reaches up and grabs his his
Yeah.
fucking dick off. Like yeah, so and the whole like the rib cage comes out. Like there's so much fucking little gore scenes that happen, especially in that chaos that is like the party at the end. Um, the guy gets his like legs like torn off, and it's just like the little like stick like legs. The baby obviously like coming out of the person's face, which made the cover. But yeah, Dead Alive to me, like Lionel reminds me of Ash in the first Evil Dead, where he's kind of like a bumbling idiot. He's not like the fucking badass that like everyone remembers Ash is, like when the end of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So there's a lot of like I have a lot an attraction to Dead Alive because it does feel very Evil Deadish. And the fact that he uses the fucking lawnmower instead of a chainsaw and the whole party's over and all that stuff. Like there's very Ash qualities in Lionel as well that like make me really like Dead Alive.
Definitely.
But yeah, but Dead Alive, like I could ramble, like I could do an episode on Dead Alive like alone because this movie's so fucking good. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is to me, this is of the four, this is like number one with a bullet.
Oh yeah. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to doing single episodes on any of these movies in the future for sure. But What about you, Travis? What's your thoughts on Dead Alive?
Um, pretty much the same. I think for most of my life, it was number one with a bullet. I think like in now, in my 40s, I think Meet the Feebles takes it for me, like I said, because like it's just fucked up and weird. And I think I like weird more than I like fucked up these days. Um, but Dead Alive, growing up, it was like the litmus test for people who could hang. It was like, because it is like Ren said, it's everything is soupy, everything is like kind of extra gross. It's all like, it's not very palatable. It's like it's intentionally like real gnarly. And but it's like got great one-liners. It's got good comedy. It's got, like very great writing. The scene Ren mentioned where like he's pissing on the grave and she comes up and grabs his dick is my favorite scene. It just fucking cracks me up. Like I love a good dick rip. Um, but it's like, and obviously it's like what fucking bands have sampled this. I remember, I forget what fucking record it was years ago that it was like, it was the party's over thing and then a fucking like breakdown happened or whatever. Uh, and I always thought that was real clever. But yeah, love it. It's a great movie.
Fuck yeah. And what about you, Phil?
If Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead didn't exist, this would be my favorite like zombie film ever.
Fuck yeah.
No question about it. Like it's a gore lover's fucking wet dream. Which I am, as you know, a gore lover. So yeah, it's my wet dream. Um, this will forever be unbeatable as far as Peter Jackson's number one. As much as I love the other films, and I do love them, you can't fuck with this film. As Ren mentioned earlier, kick ass for the Lord. That's a genius fucking line, bro. Like as soon as he start and he's kicking ass for the fucking Lord, like he's fucking actually doing that. It's so good. The fucking dick rip, of course, great. The baby. Not enough is said about the baby. The baby's so fucked up and creepy looking and vile. I really enjoyed those scenes with him. And how do you top the fucking lawnmower scene?
Yeah.
He chopped up so many motherfuckers in that shit. Like it's legendary numbers here that can't be beat. Like that's why I love like Terrifier so much and all that because it kind of brings back that level of ridiculousness with the gore. But this can't be beat. This cannot be beat. And it's also a love story. Let's not forget that. Like Paquita and Lionel to go all through this shit. It also gets weird with the mother dynamic. She's got like this reverse Oedipus thing going on with her kid, like she can't allow anyone else to be with him, only her. And I don't know, that definitely gave me some weird ass fucking vibes about her. But she was fucking awful and she deserved to become a fucking zombie and fucking go crazy and all that. But like the rat monkey, awesome, awful looking creature. I love that as soon as it bit you, you had to chop your shit off. That first 5 minutes, like you're in for a good time as soon as that dude gets chopped the fuck up after getting bit. Um, on that ride on that Jeep or whatever, running away from the tribesmen. It's nonstop. I mean, yes, you got the love story in between, but once it gets going, man. And zombie after zombie, kill after kill, pus, the what do you call that? It's not soup, whatever that was. That scene
The
will
custard.
forever be embedded in my fucking brain because it's so disgusting. And like Ren said, when you first see that, you definitely want to throw the fuck up. Um, so yeah, I mean, I just love it to death. And I'm heartbroken again, like I said earlier, that it's not easily available, that you have to have a bootleg copy to enjoy it. But fuck it, I have it and I do enjoy it at least once a year. Like every Halloween, it's usually on the list,
Oh yeah.
during the season. I mean, how could it not be? You can't ignore that. Film is just too fucking good. And it's his greatest day. And I love Lord of the Rings because Mordor is about my neighborhood, growing up. But that is forever the Peter Jackson film. Forever.
Fuck him. Now, and I'm pretty much with you guys from the Sumatran rat monkey at the beginning to everybody bursting out of the basement at the end with the lawnmower. The movie's just fun as shit from start to finish. I love all the characters that surround Lionel, from his girlfriend to his crazy mom to his fucking rapey uncle to our grapey uncle. I guess YouTube doesn't like the R word, so I won't throw that out too softly. And then of course, the priest is my favorite character as well. The
Yeah.
kick arse for the Lord and all that shit. But no, this movie is just an absolute blast. And I think the only thing that we haven't mentioned yet that deserves mentioning about just Peter Jackson's film in general is how much they boosted Weta Workshop, who's gone on to work on so many other films, practical effects wise, and done a great job. I think they even did the X trilogy recently, or at least did some of them. I think they at least did X and Pearl, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they did Maxine, but that's because
Great
those films were,
effects. Great
yeah.
effects, bro.
So
Unbeatable.
and they killed it, knocked it out of the park. Kind of another similarity to Evil Dead, kind of churning up the K and B boys. They worked with Showstrom and them on the films, and then went on to form K and B. Weta, was kind of working along Peter Jackson, and eventually went on to form actual Weta and stuff like that. So, um,
And to Ren's point with the Evil Dead references, like he kind of even looks like Ash, really, in the
A
first
yeah,
little bit,
film.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah.
there's definitely similarities there for sure.
No, definitely. But and of course our last film, which to me feels like the Drag Me to Hell of the Peter Jackson films, is the Frighteners, which we can dive into that. As far as the Frighteners go, what's your thoughts on this one, Ren? If I'm not mistaken, I think you called it Jeffrey Combs' best film, which I still fucking so hard disagree. I think
Did I
Yeah.
say that?
you told me it was somebody's best film, but I couldn't remember. I thought it was Jeffrey Combs, or maybe you just
Um,
said it was his best role.
Maybe Busey's son's
yeah,
best film.
maybe Jake Busey's best role. Because
Yeah.
Reanimator is fucking Jeffrey Combs' best movie, but
Goddamn right, bro.
Yeah. Oh no, that's my thought. That's yeah, that's top fiver for me. But no, I don't know why I thought it was Jeffrey Combs that you said, but it was a while ago regardless. So it might have been Jake Busey. That might have been my mistake. But either way, what's your thoughts on this one? I know you enjoy this one as well.
I love this movie. Like, it's not a gore fest or anything like that. It's like barely rated R, if it even is rated R. I don't even know if I've ever even checked. To me, it's just like a fun fucking like ghost movie that, like, it has comedy elements to it. Um, the fucking before Jake Busey's like character like reveals himself when he's like the Reaper version, like that's like a terrifying, the fact that like people are getting marked up before they even die. It's like, oh, why do you have the 13 on your head and whatnot? Um, like I love all that concept of like, oh, this serial killer comes back from the grave. He's killing, as a ghost. You can't even see him. He just fucking gives you a heart attack, and he's competing against other fucking real serial killers because he's always like, oh, Dahmer got
Yeah.
14, I got 15 now, or something. Like, he's always I thought that the motivation was cool. I think Jake Busey, like, once he reveals like, oh, it's me, it's this fucking serial killer who was put to death like 30 years ago. I think that was like a cool concept. I it's a weird role for Michael J. Fox, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Then you got like crazy characters in the background, like John Aston is the fucking the sheriff or whatever fuck he is, and like he or what was it? He's like the cowboy, and then you have Arlie Emery basically playing himself from the grave.
Fucking
Um,
Hartman. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
the
yeah,
judge, yeah,
the
is a
judge, yeah,
cowboy. Yeah.
judge, yeah. But yeah, I just and then not only are you dealing with like the main villain, you have Jeffrey Combs who plays a fucking creepy motherfucker also as a villain, and who gets a really cool comeuppance scene. I just think it's a cool, like, easy flick. You don't have like it's probably the easiest of well, it's not probably, it's definitely the easiest of the four to sell to like anyone else. I think it's a good, like, I think this would be a good, if you're like, this would be the movie that I would show your wife, Tim. Like, I would be like, if
Yeah.
she was like, oh, I want to see a early Peter Jackson, watch The Frighteners. We'll talk about the other three later, but like The Frighteners would be a safe bet for her.
I tried to
just
get my
think-
kid to watch this with me, but
Yeah.
he was not interested. I don't know. I was like, come on,
But
Ghost.
yeah, I just think the idea of like the talking to ghosts and the ghosts interacting and all that stuff is a neat concept for me. The effects are weird because they're just kind of fucking blue and see-through. But no, I like it. I like, and I'll say this movie must have made an impression too, because fucking Bad Luck 13 uses a sound clip from this. You know, the whole like had number 13 in her head, unlucky for some. Like that's in a Bad Luck 13 thing. So if those fucking dudes are using the Frighteners, then it's got a seal of approval, because there's no way Jay Goldberg put something in a fucking Bad Luck 13 album unless he thinks it's cool.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's an old school horror fan through and through. No, but the Frighteners is just fun. Like it's another movie that I felt like slipped through the cracks, because there's a lot of people I tell about this movie when people are like, "Oh, I'm looking for something that I could watch with like the family that's like got scary stuff but not too much." I'm always like, "Yo, watch the Frighteners. That would be a perfect movie." It's definitely more intense than like Ghostbusters, but it's not, The Exorcist. So I'm always like, the Frighteners falls in like that safe range. I feel like it gives kind of everyone what they want. It's just a little intense. It backs off with it breaks up some of the intensity with like really funny humor. And obviously this is what Peter Jackson finally got like Hollywood money when he made this movie. Because to me, this is the most polished of all of them, before obviously he goes on and makes the Lord of the Rings and does like, regardless of how you feel about the content of the Lord of the Rings, that's like cinematic masterpiece. So this was like his first test, like when they gave him something resembling a budget. I feel like might have been the early inklings of what Peter Jackson could do if he just had money.
Yeah.
But I love the Frighteners. It's definitely the tamest of the four by a wide margin, but that doesn't mean it's not good in my opinion. I think it's still a really fun movie. And I have a funny story. When I met Jake Busey at a Monster Mania to get his autograph for this character, his dad was having a fucking freak out and like wanted to stop signing autographs like after like 3 hours into the entire weekend. And they were like, Jake, can you like go talk to your dad? And he's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? He's like, and he's like, hold on a second. He disappears for like a few minutes. He comes back. He's like, where were we? And he was like really nice. And he's just like, but that's fun little side note when it comes to the Frighteners. And I met Jake Busey, who signed an 8x10 of his character.
That's
Fuck yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Cool,
we'll
you got
hot
to
take
meet
it.
him.
Yeah. I will hot take it and say it might be D. Wallace's best film, because E.T. kind of sucks, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it doesn't suck, but it's just not my go-to film of anything. But when I was a kid, it was. But what about you, Travis? What's your thoughts on the Frighteners?
I love the Frighteners. I love it because I think that it's just like great writing. Like it's not full of like anything really all that shocking, but it's like quality writing. Like I enjoy the characters. I enjoy like the main characters, the secondary characters. The villains are awesome because there's like if I remember correctly, there's like three villains technically, because there's like Jake Busey as like the Reaper character, but then there's his girlfriend
Yeah.
that's also helping him do this shit.
Well,
But
eventually
then
she's like a
yeah,
reveal like later. Yeah.
right. And then
Yeah.
there's like Dammers, and Dammers is awesome. Like that character is so fucking good to me. Because what a fucking weirdo, what a little weasel that guy is.
Yeah.
But it's like it's all just really good. It's just palatable enough that I can put it on anytime I want. It's like I don't have to be in a mood for the Frighteners. I can just like if I see it, I can just put it on and enjoy it. And I'll like it's one of those movies that I'll put on in the background and then I'll just end up watching the whole fucking thing and enjoying it. I think Michael J. Fox is great in it. Yeah, it's like I think it's great. I had the poster when it came out. I had the poster on my wall till I like went to college. Like it was I like rocked for the Frighteners. So big fan.
No, his
Loved it.
sidekicks are fucking great too. Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox's sidekicks.
Yes.
He goes, yeah, they rule.
Well, even his love interest, Lucy?
Yeah, Lucy.
I mean, she's a babe.
And her-
like
Her husband, like the Elvis looking dude,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's hilarious.
Yes.
Such a dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played Elvis in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh shit. Yeah, you're right.
it's voiced by Kurt Russell, but it's played by that dude or whatever in
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. But nah, this shit's fucking nah. I agree. That's how I feel. Like Shy McBride, the one like side ghost character. I can't remember the character's name, but that's the actor's name, Shy McBride. When they do that whole scene where they like are trying to scare people at the museum or whatever, or at the art show, and they're like carrying the mummy and drop her, and he's like, "Oh my God, she was so young and beautiful." It's probably like my favorite part of the whole fucking movie. But what about you, Phil? What was your thoughts on the Frighteners? I remember you said that you kind of didn't like it at first, but it's grown
Yeah,
on you.
so I saw it in '96 when it came out, and I was like, no, this isn't for me. I need violence, I need death, I need so many good things. But the rewatch all these years later, I'm glad I did. Firstly, I forgot that our boy Jeffrey Combs is in it, and what a shady piece of shit he is in it, and he's so Reanimator in this. Like it's not even funny. Like the parallels in the way his mannerisms and the way he's acting. He's just that character, always, but in a different way here. And total asshole, shady fuck. Um, Everything that goes against what an FBI agent should be, right? And he's a psychopath. I love that. Dee Wallace, forgot she was in the film because this was so long. It was like 30 years ago. So I didn't remember much. I just remember that I didn't like it. So seeing Dee Wallace, it was a good role for her. I love that it's revealed that she's in on the whole thing with Jake, and they're going on this rampage, killing all these fucking people, because they want to be the number one all-time serial killer. That's fucking sick. Um, who else in this film? Like, Michael J was pretty good. Like, but what kind of saddens me in this is that I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I feel like the beginnings of his disease were shown in this film. Like, in some of his mannerisms and all that. I don't know. I could kind of get the vibe that he was starting to get sick
His
here.
neck crank that he's
Yeah,
like,
his neck, the neck thing. Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly it. And so that kind of bums me out a bit. But like he was great in this, and I love the fact that he's like kind of like the ghost whisperer. Like he could just like talk to all these ghosts and see them and all that. And it happened because he was in like this terrible accident that killed his wife. Um, yeah, man. Like I'm glad I saw it. I'm gonna say that because I really did not like it the first time around. But yeah, Jeffrey Combs is the unsung hero of this film, just because he's such a dick. And yeah, Dee Wallace, I'm gonna agree with Travis on this, or whoever said it. She was great in this, and even greater than Jeffrey Combs, Sergeant Hartman, Arlie Ernie. Um, I love that character, and the fact that he's a ghost version of that character made my fucking day, man. Like I was like, holy shit, dude, I can't believe he's in this. So yeah, it made me enjoy it because of the characters most of all. And the story is pretty cool. The only thing I can't stand is the effects, man. And this is a Hollywood film. They had money to hook it up more. And
I
it
feel like
looks
though,
kind of cartoonish to me.
I feel like in '96 though, this was par for the course. Like
yeah. I was gonna say at the time, like
compared to if this
for
movie
I
sure.
get
came out,
that.
if this movie came out today, those ghosts would look way better.
Right.
And the hell scene would look way better. Like the hell scene,
The ghost I'm okay with is the Reaper. The Reaper looked like uber
yeah.
cheese to me.
Well, and the hell scene when the hell opened
Yeah.
up, like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
cool, but it very much looked like a Windows screensaver from like
Yeah.
1996.
Right. No, you're right. So that bothered me about the film. That still bothers me about the film, but much more enjoyable this time around for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I really this was a first time watch for me going into this one. So growing up, Back to the Future is my all-time favorite movie. I've
Yep.
watched one and two more than any other movies I've ever seen, and I still to this day, if they're on, I'll literally sit and watch them type thing. Even three I enjoy. I just don't watch it as much as one and two. But so I was surprised when I got a little bit older and I found out about the Frighteners that I had never heard about it because, nobody in my family was ever like, hey, you kind of like spooky stuff. You should check out Michael J. Fox in a spooky movie or whatever. And it just never happened. So once I finally found out about the Frighteners, it became high on my must watch list. But for most of the years, it was kind of like the rest of his stuff. It's hard to find. It's not really streaming anywhere. And even now, you have to pay to stream it on
Yeah.
anything. Like it's not just on anything. It was on Amazon Prime a little bit, like back when we originally talked about doing this, but since then it's already back off of Amazon Prime as well. Like it's up there to pay for and rent, but not up there like as far as like just part of the streaming.
I remember
So-
saying, I can't believe I got to rent this shit.
yeah, and all the other stuff is even on YouTube, but this one has never made its way to YouTube. I wonder if it gets pulled off quicker from the company that owns it, but
I think Warner Brothers owns it.
yeah, so it makes sense because they're like a little bit like harsher on the YouTube stuff, but no, I was not pleasantly surprised because I love Peter Jackson's other stuff and I love Michael J. Fox, but I was really surprised just how much I did love this film and how fun it was. I bought the Blu-ray just to watch it for this because I was like, if I'm gonna spend $6 to rent it, I might as well spend the $8.99 to get the Blu-ray on Amazon. So, and I'm really glad I did because I could see myself watching this almost every October. When like the you're doing the 31 day prompts and it's like a ghost movie or something because it's such a unique and fun one. This movie kind of fits with films like The Burbs or Demon Knight,
Yeah.
where it's just like fun, like kind of actiony throughout, but also just super fun throughout, and just a lot of characters to kind of like attach yourself to. Like you guys mentioned, all the fun characters. One of the things that I don't think was mentioned about Jeffrey Combs that I really liked is how he like freaks out every time a woman gets a little bit
Yells at him.
authoritative. Yeah, he's like, ah, yeah. Like that show was super fucking fun. And then, of course, the three ghosts that follow him around with Judge, and then the other two are super funny, like throughout and stuff. But no, I really enjoyed this film, and I think another of the few things I enjoyed was honestly had forgotten that Jake Busey was like the bad guy at the end. So it was kind of cool how they like drop these like Easter eggs about Jake Busey's character without forcing it. You know what I mean? Like, so when it pops up, it makes sense, but it's also like not something that's so foreshadowed that you immediately call it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these twists in movies get like are easily called, but I honestly thought that the ghost was going to be somebody that he already knew, like turned bad. Like I thought maybe it was the judge pretending to be, like throwing a cloak on and going around killing people, or like something like that. I thought was going to be the twist. So when it ended up
Well.
being just like the serial killer that you hear like small tidbits about and stuff was pretty cool. But no, I really enjoy this film. I enjoy all the characters that are created. I like the look of everything and the even the like the Wren mentioned how they're kind of just slightly glowing blue. That I really enjoy that look. And then I enjoy the whole setup of like Michael J. Fox scamming people and shit like that. That part's also
Yeah.
super fun and like
Yeah.
unique. But no,
Yeah,
yeah.
it makes you like not feel like it. He's like slimy in the beginning, and you're like,
Yeah.
it kind of makes his character like work for it for you to like sympathize with him because he's like kind of a piece of shit in the beginning.
Yeah, it gives his character like a true arc, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
as the lead. He's not just like lovable from jump and then at the end he's in danger. It's like, no, and then of course the whole scene where he like dies and goes through all that shit and then comes
Yeah.
and like all that is even cool when it shows like Jake Busey and them get like pulled back down to hell like while he's up in heaven. It's like I don't know, but I'm surprised the leading lady in this didn't get more roles. I thought she was awesome, and of course, like you guys mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, she's fucking gorgeous. So
Yeah.
surprised that she didn't do more as well. But no, fuck yeah. But that's the Peter Jackson movies, or at least, the four main ones of his early years, pre Lord of the Rings. I definitely wanted to check out Heavenly Creatures that dropped back in like 94. So between Dead Alive and Frighteners. But I never got around to it. Have y'all ever seen Heavenly Creatures? I've heard nothing but good things, but
No, it's a biography movie. Isn't fucking Kate Winslet in it or
it's
something
either
like
her
that?
or like, uh, it's, I think it's Jennifer Connelly, maybe.
Maybe I haven't watched it, but I know it's
No.
like
It's
it's
two
like a
girls. So
it's like it's some weird psychological movie that's it's like a thriller that's like based on like a it's like biographical or some shit like that. There's like a book about it or some shit like that. I can't remember. I've never seen it, so I don't.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
Kate
Me neither.
Winslet and Melanie Klinsky from like Yellow Jackets and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much about two girls that like try to kill somebody. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but it's definitely not, it doesn't fit in with these other four films. Like
Yeah.
it's not it's kind of like crime thriller, but it's doesn't have like any over the top gore or any like fun like genre stuff like The Frighteners and stuff. Or I know Meet the Feebles isn't necessarily a genre film either, but it's one that would be adored by genre fans because of the
Yeah.
craziness of it and stuff. So
Well, I feel like with Meet the Feebles, anyone that I know that has ever seen it, that talks about it and says that is even acknowledges its existence, are horror fans, like
yeah.
con type horror fans. I've never like, there's people at my work that are like, oh, I like horror movies, and it's like, well, what's your favorite? And they're like, they can't name anything after like the last 20 years. They have no idea what Meet the Feebles is.
Yeah.
But
Nothing bums me out more than one time Tanya Beckart, that's been on the show, the vocalist of Monochromatic Black and stuff.
yeah,
She's like a huge horror fan and she'll post like around Halloween, like what's some horror recommendations that I might not have seen? And people will be like, The Conjuring, It Chapter One, and I'm like, she said that she might not have seen, not that it has been on every fucking
yeah.
website for 30 years. Like fucking Christ, people. Nah, but nah, I'm with you. No, but these are all four super solid films and definitely shows why they gave him Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? He showed his imagination with as early with Bad Taste, the way that he was able to play three characters and just showed his love of film by making all that happen on his own. And then, like you said, Wren, when he finally got the keys to like a big budget film, the way he was able to make it work with the Frighteners and take somebody that's usually so clean cut, Michael J. Fox, and turn him into kind of like a scumbag that you still end up adoring by the end of the film just shows that he could make it work on both ends. So
I think one thing you can take away from these four films specifically before we he jumps into the Lord of the Rings is you see his progression as a filmmaker, like as
yeah,
from just making the film to the way he shoots films, the way he writes films. Like I don't think he wrote the Frighteners 100%. Like I think he had a co-writer, or maybe he did the treatment for it. But either way, like you can see his progression as a filmmaker and how he like gets more out of his actors, how he's able to like just the way he shoots is better. Like yeah, there's something charming about the way he shot Bad Taste and Dead Alive and even Meet the Feebles, but like when you watch the Frighteners, you're like, oh, he learned tricks like
yeah,
making those movies. Like he
Yeah.
refined his craft by the time he got to at least the Frighteners. And then obviously like in terms of strictly filmmaking, he like perfected it when he did Lord of the Rings. I mean, the
yeah,
budget and the scale that he worked with on that movie is like there's few that match it. But but yeah, I think one maybe that was what sold the studio on giving Peter Jackson the keys of the kingdom when he did do the big, Lord of the Rings, is that they were like, oh, we watched your career and you've definitely learned, and none of your films have been repeated since you've done these. So I don't
yeah,
know. I wasn't in that discussion. Maybe he came cheap. They knew how expensive the fucking movie was going to be, and they were like, well, this guy's going to cost us nothing.
yeah. No, but definitely glad that I finally watched The Frighteners, even if it took forever because it's going to be rewatched for many years to come. But do you
Yeah.
guys have any audience participation before we wrap this up, or?
I got three.
Nope.
Sean Downing, who was in CDC, he's also in um a new pop punk band called excuse me, Princess, with Jess Goldie from My Turn to Win. He only commented on Meet the Feebles because I used that as the background for when I asked the question, and he just said it's an underappreciated movie. When I asked him if he had any other feelings on the other three movies, he has said he never saw them. So when I sent him the trailer of Dead Alive, he was like, "Holy shit, I'm watching it this weekend." I'm curious if he ever did, but he was blown away with that. Kayla McIntyre, who also was a singer for CDC, he said, what the hell was his thing? He basically said something about like, oh, this movie's crazy. Obviously, I was one of the only people that would ever talk about it. He saw it when he was like 12 years old and still doesn't understand how someone could watch that and say, yeah, let's give you the budget to do Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
And all my wife said, I asked her if she had any opinions on any of the four movies. I quote you, all she said was, I kick ass for the Lord. That was it. That's my wife.
Goddamn right.
That is my wife's review of all four movies in one sentence.
Fuck yeah.
I love that.
That is great.
That's all this needs to be said.
That's right.
No. No, like I said, I didn't have any participation. My wife did say that she likes Lovely Bones. That's her favorite, but other than that, I didn't have anybody like write in or nothing. I feel like this is like you guys mentioned, these are films that are even by genre fans, they're often overlooked just because they're not like streaming anywhere. You have to go look for them on YouTube. So if you're listening to this episode and you haven't watched them, they are all on YouTube except for the Frighteners, but it's worth the 6.99 or whatever on Amazon Prime for sure. Did you get any, Travis? I don't think you got any, Phil, did you?
No, I didn't even know this was happening until 20 minutes before I got
I knew
home.
you weren't sure if we were getting on, but
But I will rank them. Dead Alive's number one. Feebles has a slight edge over Bad Taste now that I've gone through this again. But not by much. I mean, they're both great. I love them both, but I'm gonna give the edge to Feebles, then Bad Taste, then The Fright.
hell yeah. Now, I guess if I'm ranking them, I'm going Bad Taste, Dead Alive, The Frighteners, Meet the Feebles, but they're all so neck and neck
Yeah,
that if you
they
ask me
are.
again in 5 years,
Are.
it could definitely change for me. But
Same. But right now, that's where it's at for me.
what about you, Travis? Which do you want to rank them real quick? And did you have any audience participation? I think I can hear you if you said no or not.
When I brought this up to Laura, she's my only audience participation. All she did was sing the song from Meet the Feebles.
Yeah.
Like just like word for word saying it. And she's like, yeah, that movie's fucked up. But yeah, if I had to rank them, I think at this juncture I would go Feebles, Frighteners, Dead Alive, Bad Taste.
Okay. And
Interesting.
what about
I like
what
it.
about the bald man of the group, Belch the Walrus?
There's two bald ones. Phil don't got no much hair.
He just hides. Yeah, he just hides.
The prettier of the bald ones. I got Dead Alive, Meet the Feebles, The Frighteners, and Bad Taste. But like you
Yeah.
said, like the top three are like, well, other than Dead Alive's like clear, out in the front runner, but the other three run pretty neck and neck. And if you ask me next week, maybe I'll change that order.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Nah, I'm surprised I'm the odd man out with a Bad Taste, but I'm also not surprised because they're all so good. And also, like I said, Bad Taste, I understand how it's got like a little less like I agree with Wren, like you said, it's like he grew as a filmmaker with each film, so it definitely is like the most lacking of the four when it comes to the structure and stuff. But
Yeah, but there's plenty of there's plenty of directors that do that too. My
yeah,
beloved Sam Raimi, like, The Evil Dead to me is the greatest film that was ever made. But if you look at the way Sam makes movies now, like he is
Yeah.
far exceeded the way he, as a director and a filmmaker, and how he gets what he gets out of his audience, or not his audience, his crew and whatnot, and his actors
yeah,
is it's leaps and bounds. Like if you look at, just take something like Spider-Man and you look at what one of the Spider-Mans that he did, and then look at Evil Dead, and you're like, how the fuck is that the same director? So, just because Bad Taste is your favorite, like it's not egregious. It's not like he made some like fucking absolute stinker and you're like, dude, I love the turd.
oh
Like
yeah,
you like a fun movie, that it becomes like taste is subjective. It's not like he made like a legitimately, like all three of us are like, yo, that movie sucks. And you're like,
yeah,
you know what? I fucking love it. Like, so I can see why you would like Bad Taste as your favorite. Like it's not like a real crazy pick, but
yeah.
like,
No, and same here. Like I definitely understand like Travis putting Feebles first. You know what I mean? Like, Feebles is such a fucking wild movie. It's one of those movies that I think if I had seen more over the years, I've only watched it like 3 times total. Like I saw like 30, and one of the times was 30 minutes when I was 10 years old. So it was that was more of a shock than anything. So no, hell yeah, these movies fucking roll, and I hope we get the restorations that we're all hoping for in the near future for sure.
Amen.
But hell yeah, dudes, I appreciate y'all for joining me, and it was fun to have the Baldwins on today. But definitely see you guys next month for whatever Phil picks, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys sooner in the, well, not hopefully, I'll definitely talk to you guys sooner in the group chat. But
For
for anybody
sure.
anybody listening, make sure you like, subscribe, or leave a rating, whatever's clever for whatever platform you're enjoying the podcast on, as well as make sure you comment and let us know what your favorite of the 4 are, or just go ahead and rank all 4 of them for us in the comments. Let us know what your ranking would be, and maybe what some of the scenes that we didn't, we might have missed a scene or two throughout the 4 films that you wish we would have shouted out. So leave that in the comments. Thank you all for listening, and stay safe, and thank you all for joining me. It was a blast. We'll get back to it next one.
Later, guys.